Hello everyone, it's Carrie from Inky Bee Journals and Ephemera. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time visiting my channel, hello and welcome to you. And if you've been to my channel before, thank you so much for returning. I really do appreciate it. So today I am going to do part 2 in the Easy Book Page Pocket series. Now, if you haven't seen part 1 and you'd like to, head on over to the playlist on the channel titled Ephemera Ideas, because all the parts to this series will be in that playlist. So today we're going to work on this one, and this is the double pocket side tuck. It's just going to be the base. We're not going to decorate this up today because I will decorate mine when I go to put it in a journal, and that's when I know what the theme of the journal will be, and I will decorate it to be in line with the theme of that journal. And you can decorate yours however you choose. So without further ado, let's get started. So I am just using regular book pages. This was part of a novel which I picked up at a local charity shop. Now, I haven't destroyed a book that wasn't going to be thrown out otherwise. The shop couldn't sell it and they were just going to throw it in the bin. So I gave them a donation and I took the book off their hands anyway. So I'm not destroying a book that was going to be used. Now, this book is not super old. It's old enough that it's got a little bit of a discoloration tinge to it, and that's what I was looking for, but it's not a super old book. If you want to use an older book, you can, but some really, really old pages can be a little bit more brittle, so keep that in mind. Now, the size of the pages that you will need is really up to you, because this is just the size that I have, but the size that you need is really, you know, it doesn't matter what size you have, because you could use a bigger page, you can use a smaller page. What will change is the height and the width of your finished pocket. And even if it is a little bit wider, if it's quite a bit taller than the size of your journal pages that you want to stick it down to, you can always cut it off shorter before you put your thumb notch in, so that you can make it to fit within the size of the journal pages that you want to add it to. And you will only need one page per pocket. So let's get started making one of these. And I have 3 pieces of book page here because I will make 3 of these with you. Anywhere you see these black lines, it's just that I've gone through each page and I have blacked out anything that I feel may be potentially offensive or potentially emotionally damaging to anyone, because I don't want to upset anybody on purpose or even accidentally. So I'm just going to start off by turning the page this way because it's a bit easier for me to do that. And I'm just going to fold this side up by approximately 1 centimetre. We don't need to make it much wider than that, and I wouldn't make it too much smaller than that. But you also don't have to be specific about the measurement. It's just a rough measurement to go by. And I'm just going to use my bone folder to burnish that fold down, just like that, and try to, unlike me, keep that fold somewhat straight and even in width. like that. Now this fold will act as a gusset in our pocket, so that we are going to be able to just going to straighten that up just a little bit, because if you can get this fold straight, then the rest of your pocket will be straight. So this becomes our gusset, and what this actually does is it will allow you to, when you are putting your ephemera in, you'll be able to go right up to the folded edge, because if we just chose to, and I'll get another page to show you, if we just chose to fold this over and glue it down, we're actually taking up some of the space in our pocket to glue. And instead of doing that, we'll do this little gusset area, which means we'll be able to have more area within our pocket to use. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to fold it over in half, and it doesn't matter which angle you do this at, whatever is comfortable for you. Now, if this was a completely straight edge, I would just fold this over to be flush with that edge. But because it's a little bit ripped and I don't want that to be there, I'm just going to bring it over as far as I can without going over that ripped edge. Because once I've glued this down on this edge, I'm actually going to get my scissors and cut this edge off. So to get it straight, you just want to make it flush across the top and flush across the bottom as evenly as you can, and just crease down the other side. And I'm just going to burnish that crease down with my bone folder, and then I'm going to open this up again, and I'm just going to put glue on the top of this folded area. Now I'm just using a bit of art glitter glue because it holds the paper well. It bonds quickly, but still allows me a little bit of wiggle room. It does have some water in it, but not so much that it's going to soak through my page and cause it to rip, because we really don't want that, and we don't want it to wrinkle if we can help it, unless you really want that appearance. So now that I've folded that over and I've pressed down that glue, I'm just going to use my bone folder and press on that glued area just to help it glue really, really well. And just go back over that crease. And then I'm just going to cut this edge off here. Now you can choose to do this with a pair of scissors. If you want to, you can use a ruler and some type of craft blade if you prefer. Now what you're doing is you're just cutting right up to this edge that you've glued down, but try not to cut over that edge that you've glued down, because otherwise you will end up with a big hole in the side of your pocket, and it will open up again and you won't have the tunnel that we are looking for. So just cut right up to that edge as closely as you can. I would say take your time with this so that you're not rushing and cutting into that folded edge where you don't want to cut. Now we don't need this piece anymore, so we can discard that. Now we have our tunnel, and it doesn't matter which side you want to be your front and which side you want to be your back, unless you want to choose a side, but it doesn't really matter because it's the same either side. Now, if you think when you fold this up that you can still fit it into your journal page, then that's fine. Now, most of my journal pages are roughly this size, so I would say that would fit within my journal page size. So if you think it's too long, you can always cut it off a bit shorter till you think it's going to fit onto your journal page comfortably. Now I'm going to put some thumb notches in, so I'm going to put one down here and one up here. And I would like my thumb notches to be in line with each other in the center. So how I achieve that is I fold it in half, but I don't crease over this fold here at the bottom. I just bring the bottom up to meet the top so that it's flush across the top and even, and as evenly as you can get it. And then I just hold it together for a moment and I grab something to mark with. I'm just going to use my pen and I'm just going to roughly mark the center area there. Then holding them together, I'm going to bring in my 1-inch circle punch. Now, if you don't have a 1-inch circle punch, I will show you with another one of these pockets how you can achieve making a thumb notch without using a circle punch. And it's quite easy. But for this first one, I will use the circle punch. Now, this one is one that goes in from the front here. So you put the paper in through this slot here. But I'm actually going to turn it over upside down and I'm going to slide this clear piece out so that I can see how far in I'm putting the paper. Now, I hope the camera can pick this up. I'm just going to slide the paper in, and what I am trying to do is where I have the little mark, center mark on my paper, I want to try to line it up with the little black mark that I've got on the clear piece here. Now there's a triangle on this clear piece, and so that you can see it, I've actually marked it out in black texture. So we want to bring the paper in by, well, as far in as you'd like. You might like a really shallow notch like that, or if you prefer, you could have a really deep notch like that. I'm going to go just below halfway, roughly, and then I'm going to punch, and your little pieces will fly everywhere, but that's okay. And you can discard these little pieces because they're not going to be needed unless you want to keep them for something else. So we can now fold this down, and then we can fold it back up to wherever we want to put it based on how deep of a pocket we would like to make. Now I like to go about halfway up, so I'm going to go to about there. And I'm just going to crease down the bottom all the way along. And I'm just going to burnish that bottom crease down with my bone folder nice and firmly, because you've got about 4 layers of paper to fold right there. So if you can get it to sit nice and flat with your bone folder, it will help your pocket to sit a bit neater. So the next thing we do is we glue down our pocket. So we open up the pocket and we get our glue, and I'm going to glue down this side. And this side. And then I'm also going to glue all over this center area. You don't have to be super heavy with the glue, just enough to make it sit. And then you can fold this back up again, lining up your sides. Use your hand or your bone folder to help press down that glue. Nice and firmly, because you want to try and make sure that this sits flat. And again, go over that bottom edge, and then you have your pocket done. So it's really that easy. So I'll make another 2 with you, and by the time we've done 3, you will have a pretty fair idea how to make these. So here's the next page. Again, we're going to do a fold down the side here to make a gusset. Now I'm just going to turn it sideways, and I'm just going to fold it up by approximately 1 centimetre. Now, because we are hand making these, it is okay that if these folds aren't 100% perfect, then that's okay. Just try to get them close to straight. Again, I'm going to use my bone folder to reinforce that fold, and then I'm going to fold it over in half, and I'm going to try and get this straight and come as close to that ripped edge as I can. Try and get the top and the bottom as even as you can, and then crease that other side down. And I'm just going to use my bone folder to reinforce that crease. Then I'm going to open this up again. We are going to glue down the top of this flap. Fold over again. Press down that glue side. And I'm just going to use my bone folder to help press that glue in. And then I'm going to cut this rough edge off without cutting into the folded edge. Right up against that edge, but not over that folded edge, so we don't end up with a big hole. Discard this piece, and then we have our pocket tunnel. Then we can fold this up so the bottom meets the top like that. We can make a mark roughly in the center. And we can use our 1-inch hole punch, 1 inch circle punch. And we can put the paper through the slot to as far in as we want to go, making sure that we put the mark on our paper in line with the mark with our plastic piece in the center of this triangle. And when we think we've got it where we want it, we can punch, and then we can open it, and then we can make our pocket again. Now, I did this one about halfway, so I think this time we'll make it a bit shorter. So we might make it to about there. So what this does is it actually makes this back pocket a bit longer when we make the front pocket a little bit shorter. And that is okay to do that. There is no rules as to how deep you make your pockets. It's a personal choice thing. I'm just going to reinforce the folded area at the bottom of the pocket, because remember, there is about 4 layers of paper at this bottom edge. And then we can open this up again, and we can glue down the side and glue down the other side and roughly glue in the center area, and then we can glue this down, trying to get the sides nice and straight and even. And we can use our bone folder just to help press that glue in and flatten our pocket down. And there we have a second pocket done. So we'll do our third pocket. And again, we'll start with our gusset down the side here. So we'll fold this in by about 1 centimetre. And I'm actually just using the lines on my grid mat here to roughly get that centimetre fold. And then I'm just going to reinforce that fold with the bone folder, and then I'm going to fold it in half again, close to that rough edge, but not right up to the edge of that rough edge, so we can cut it off. We just need to remember to make sure it's at the top and at the bottom that it's even, because that will help us to keep this line straight. And then we can fold this down, and we can use our bone folder to reinforce that fold. Then we can open this up again. We can glue down our flap. Press down that glue. We can use our bone folder to help press that glue down. And then we can cut this edge off. Now, if both sides of your both edges, I should say, of your book page are nice and straight to start with, then you don't need to cut this edge off. You can just bring your fold all the way across to the other side. But if you do have a rough edge like I do, you can just fold it as close as you can get it and then cut that rough edge off. So we have our base again, we have our tunnel, and all we have to do is fold this up so the bottom meets the top nice and evenly. Roughly mark our centre, so about there. Now how do we put a thumb notch in if we don't happen to have a 1-inch circle punch? Well, you can use a bottle or a lid of some sort, or anything that is round and small to do the same shape. So as long as we've got these, the bottom edge and the top edge flush together, you can place your bottle down on your paper so that half of it is on the paper and the other half is off the paper. And then you can hold your bottle still and you can trace around the bottom of your bottle like that. And then you can just cut this out. Now, my suggestion would be, you probably can do it with a pair of scissors, a full-size pair of scissors, but you might find it a little bit more awkward. So I find using a small pair of scissors like this a bit easier to use when you're cutting a small area like this. These are embroidery scissors. You could use small fussy cut type scissors. Any small scissors will make it easier than a larger pair. And all I'm going to do is just cut just outside of this line as evenly and smoothly and neatly as I can manage. But if it is a little bit wonky or off, that is okay. It takes a bit of practice. And we are making something by hand, so it's okay for things to be a little bit uneven. It's perfectly fine if it is, because we are not going for perfection. We are just going for getting the right shape, or close to it. Then we can open it up and we can decide how deep we want our pocket. So we've done a halfway up pocket. We've done another pocket that is not quite halfway up. So this time we'll do another pocket that's a bit shallower, and we'll do it to about there. And once again, because we made it a shallow pocket in the front, it's made the top pocket even longer than the last pocket was. And this will still fit within my page size. And I'm just going to reinforce this bottom fold again, because remembering there is about 4 layers there. And then we can open this up and we can glue this down here. So we glue down the side and down this side and roughly through the middle. And then we can fold this up trying to make sure we've got these edges nice and flush together. And we can use our bone folder to help flatten that glue out and help the pocket flatten out. And then we have finished our pocket. So I'm just going to put the pin back in my glue bottle. So there we have our 3 pockets with 3 different lengths in the front pocket, which makes 3 different lengths in the back pocket. Now you could potentially make these 3 pockets or even 4 pockets. It just depends how you choose to glue them down to your page, and it also depends on whether you glue your front pocket all over the center or just down the sides. So you can play around with that, but you have a pocket in the front and you have a pocket in the top, and you can glue down one side and across the top and across the bottom, and you can have a side tuck as well. And it doesn't matter whether you use your side tuck on the right or on the left. That's a personal choice thing. So I hope you found making these easy. Have a go. They are suitable for beginners. And see how you go with those, because they're really quite easy. So I will leave the video there. If you liked this video, please consider giving me a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that YouTube can send you a notification when I upload new content. I try to get at least 1 video a week out. I will try to get a couple a week out if I can. At the moment I'm particularly busy, and I will be for another couple of months at least, but I will keep making these videos. I just can't guarantee that I can get more than 1 a week out at the moment. But with that said, I will leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day, and I will see you next time. Bye.